And just like that, we're back. Views from Section 400, Matt, Jack, and Brian, bringing you along. Happy Monday, everybody. We just had the U.S. Open conclude last night, early evening. NBA Finals to get into, NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. Love to talk about it all. We're getting right into it right after this.
We finally made it through winter. Spring is here, summer is coming. And the best place to get tickets to all the baseball games, all your summer concerts, or anything else is SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of Views from Section 400. First-time purchasers can use our code ViewsFrom400 at checkout for $20 off any tickets, whether you're going to a baseball game, watching the Mets, watching the Phillies, you want to see a country concert on a lawn, and wherever venue you want to go to. SeatGeek is the place to go. Super easy to get any ticket. They have a one-of-a-kind system, shows you the best deal for your buck. And the best part, you get $20 off your first purchase with code ViewsFrom400 at checkout. We love SeatGeek. Thank you to them again. And here's the rest of the show.
All right, we're back. As I said, in the Open, the U.S. Open concluded last night. Your 2025 champion, J.J. Spaun, takes it home. An unbelievable, I don't know, what was that, 40, 50, 60-foot birdie putt to seal the deal on 18 in the rain. United States Open. U.S. citizen wins it. Why was that so funny, Brian?
I've never heard someone refer to it as the United States Open. I like it, though.
I'm happy a U.S. Citizen, as Matt said, a citizen of this great nation, won it all for the U.S. Keeping it home, right? Keep the cup home, isn't that what they say?
Yeah,
64-foot birdie putt. That's crazy.
64 feet. American, you can't make it up.
No, and I mean, we are literally recording this right after it ended. Don't even have time. I wish I knew what his odds were before the U.S. Open started, because he must have been way down there. I mean, Jack, would you say he hadn't made a birdie in 530 career holes? Or an eagle?
He hadn't made an eagle in 538 career holes.
He had to be pretty high on those odds.
You got to be, I would say. I mean, we can kind of go through. I know the whole staff gave out some future winners. I don't know how the whole team did. I gave out Russell Henley. He was plus 7,000. And he was plus 7,000. And I would assume J.J. Spaun was around those odds, maybe even a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, Bryson ended up missing the cut, so my pick didn't go
you and Colin
the way
Bryson,
we thought.
He missed the cut. Rory damn near should have missed the cut. I mean, what was he like? Right at the cut line, and then didn't play well over the weekend at all. So, and then Brian, Captain America pick.
Yeah, he was hanging around.
Was, fine, but nothing spectacular.
Nothing spectacular. I do want to shout out Jackson Coyven, War Eagle. He was a great first day. He was on the top 10 leaderboard to the first 9 holes of the tournament, which I mean, it's cool to see for an amateur. And ended up missing the cut by a stroke. And he went into the rough on his last hole, the 18th on Friday. And he tried to just Kobe. He tried to hole it on a par 4 from 180 feet out. And he came 3 feet left of the hole. It was honestly pretty close, and it would have been to make the cut, but couldn't quite get it done. But no, this tournament was awesome. I mean, you had Tyrell Hatton raging and throwing golf clubs everywhere. Sam Burns falling apart. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, both of them were just absolutely raging on this last day here. It was a lot of fun. He would hit some fine shots and still just take a club and strike it into the ground just for shits and gigs.
Yeah, it shows you that, Liv ruined it all, man. We don't get those personalities on the tour anymore. So them splitting it up and, being on the Liv Golf Tour, you don't get the excitement that the PGA Tour once was. It's still electric and, it is what it is. But one final thing I want to talk about, and I've never been a big Rory McIlroy guy. The final major of the year is called the Open. It is in Northern Ireland, so there will be a lot of buzz and hype around Rory, who is from Northern Ireland. But, there's been a lot of huff and puff about his media availability. He's not talking to the media. He had some comments this past weekend about, he's earned the right to speak to them when he wants to and doesn't want to, which is a very unlikable thing to do if you're trying to be a man of the people and a fan of the people, because it's kind of really the fans' access to a player from tournament to tournament is media availability. So, he continues to fuel my point of not being a big Rory guy, but I've seen some buzz. There's nothing official, no even official sources. This is literally just the internet gods saying stuff on Twitter and trying to put it into the atmosphere. But, he got the Masters. He got his Grand Slam. Is Rory like 1 foot out the door on the PGA Tour and headed over to live? I mean, there's been a lot of talk about it online. There's nothing official, but I mean, this guy just like doesn't care anymore. It doesn't seem like.
Well, pulling a move like not talking to the media definitely signals that, all right, maybe I don't care about, what's, I guess, traditional or expected of me. Maybe I'm just going to go do the live golf thing, which is sort of what we see from the personas that go over there. Not trying to shit on anybody in particular, but seems to be the definitely the trend.
Yeah. I get so annoyed at the media when they, and maybe it's the Twitter folk just making all this up. But like, if you're a media member and you're visually upset about one of these players in any sport not talking to you, grow a pair of balls and do your job better. Like, it annoys. Like, they don't have to talk to you. All right.
Do they not? I mean, I know
No.
like the NFL, like, you got to get up on the
NFL,
presser and you got to say your say.
If you're in like the Super Bowl media day and you're required to, yeah. But
There are
there's media availability sessions and you're available to the media. You're not required to speak to the media.
I thought for the
Sometimes-
US ones, you absolutely
sometimes
have
you're required.
to. Yeah, I thought you're like forced.
I don't know what it's like in golf. I don't want to speak on Rory and his whole deal if he has to, but yeah, I'm just saying across the major sports.
But either way, like if he wants to take a fine, especially in an individual sport where it's only on him and he's not like fining his team or anything, like I don't care, and you shouldn't care either. Like he's doing his own thing.
I don't.
If you want to talk about Rory McIlroy being like a weird person and a bad person, I mean, he had 1 foot out the door in his marriage just like 2 years ago, so that's a whole nother thing we could talk about. But in terms of him not wanting to talk to media members, I don't care. Let him be.
No, and I think that's fair, Brian. If he's okay with the repercussions, i.e., people like me and Matt saying that he sucks. I mean, what are you doing? You're one of the biggest names in the game. Well, you think LeBron doesn't talk to the media? You think Aaron Judge never talks to the media? Like, who do you think you are, Rory McIlroy?
That's how I think.
Talk to
one
the
of
media.
the few golfers to ever win a Grand Slam in his career.
He's in golf royalty, and as soon as he won that, I think he just like doesn't care anymore. And he's claimed a reason. There was a one of the reporters, and it wasn't one set report. Like, I don't know if the guy or girl, I don't even know who wrote the article, was there in that media session, but there was an article out there of somebody kind of heavily criticizing his driving game. So like just the driver being very off. And it's like, okay, Rory, if you don't like that, then maybe clean the driver up a little bit and start hitting some fairways. So that was part of why I didn't want to talk to him. And then it's a very like arrogant, unlikable comment of saying, I've earned the right to not speak to you guys. Has he earned the right? Maybe, sure. Like you said, he's in golf royalty. He's won the Grand Slam. But don't be a douchebag.
He's not allowed to say that he's earned the right. You can have somebody else come out and defend him saying he's earned the right, but you can't say that yourself. You just sound arrogant.
You sound like a jerk off. So that's my problem with it.
I guess my thing is it's okay to be mad that he's a douchebag, but if you're going to be mad that he's a douchebag because he's not talking to you so you can get your story, then I'd go fuck off.
The media availability, I was more about the comments in the thing. That
comment
I
think he is a douchebag.
And I was like, dude, it took you, 10 years to win another major. Everybody rooted and pulled for you. Access to the fans, a big part of it comes through the media and like availability there. So like you had all these people rooting for you on your side. You had a lot going on, personal life, whatever. And just like to get the Grand Slam and then just immediately turn into this huge prick, I think is, I don't know. He's free to do whatever he wants, but just think it's it's a weird move on his
No,
part.
you want to know what it is? It's for years and years and years. You know, he's Rory McIlroy. We all know him. He's
Right.
among golf royalty, as we were saying. But for years and years, it was, you know, you always had that one thing you could say about him. It was he can't win the Masters. He's never won the Masters. You know, you always are able to say that. Now you're not able to say that anymore. Now, you know, what are you going to say on Rory McIlroy's career? As a golfer, you really can't say anything. That's probably why, if I had to guess, he's getting this heightened sense of, you know, I'm him, or maybe he's got like a little bit of a God complex going on where, you know, he thinks he's better than everybody else because he finally did get that Masters. Maybe I'm onto something. Maybe I'm just blowing smoke, but
No, certainly he's acting like that. Whether we know what's in his head, you know, that's only between him and God, but he certainly is acting like that.
This is the same guy that almost ran over someone after he lost the U.S. Open last year. Like, he's always been like this. It's just he's not a good person. And then you have Scotty on the other side too. Like, he can't fill out a scorecard because he's picking up his son and trying to get him to play with like some random thing in the clubhouse. Like, two completely different personalities, and that's why I think people are starting to flock towards Scotty.
Yeah, I'm a huge Scotty guy. I've never been a Rory guy. It's going to be interesting. Like I said, it's July 17th, maybe that weekend, whenever that weekend, that's when they have the Open, and it's in Northern Ireland. Going to be obvious, you know, last major of the year. I will be heavily rooting against McIlroy, but he'll be, you know, future, save this sentence, maybe a Bobby Mack play, who we just saw charge late. He grew up over there. Scotland is used to those, you know, heavy winds, rough, overcast terrain. Something to think about going forward. But that's all I got for Goff.
Yeah,
probably why he did so well today.
You know, Rory will be talking to the media over there too, and they hate the Americans over there, so it's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun, dude. We get the Open over there. That'll be fun. Hopefully the Americans can snag it. And, you know, Ryder Cup just in September here on American soil. So that'll be something we start creeping closer and closer to. But, you know, I know we say it's the dead of summer, but if you just open your eyes and don't be so one-dimensional, there's a lot of great sports going on over the summer. You know, if you look outside the box a little bit.
I'm not with you. Once these NBA Finals and NHL wrap up, those 18 minutes are pretty much our shows, and then we have a 4 and 400. So,
well, I will try my best to keep the people engaged.
And then baseball
with the outer world of sport, and I have no problem being that guy.
We're not going to start recapping the ATP Indian Wells, okay?
Well, the Indian Wells isn't in the summer, but I get your point.
I had to struggle to think of a tournament because it's that out of the blue, all right?
I got you. But anything else on the tour? We got Mike Tirico interviewing JJ Spaun right now.
He wasn't on the broadcast doing the play-by-play.
No, he was like on the broadcast, but he was like the pre-broadcast guy where they would just like loop him in and then it would go to the two main guys. And then like every time a commercial break, like they came back to the action, Mike Tirico would be there to give a quick briefing. And then it would go to the two main guys.
This is the second time this happened too. It was the Olympics. He had diarrhea or something and he couldn't finish, or it might have been Wimbledon, or I don't know what it was, but he had to leave the set.
That's apart from what I'm saying. He was never the main guy on the call. Like they had him set up in a different booth somewhere, and like they would come back and like it would be Mike Tirico for 2 minutes, and then it would go to the two main guys. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's not a good use of his talents
at all. So I don't know, but he was still like being used all weekend, right? So it's not like, oh, we're giving the guy a break. Like he was still there.
He looks good, man. Let me tell you, no neck, but he's iced out. Mike Tirico's looking good.
That is a huge watch he has on.
That's a big face.
That's a big face. That's what
big face Rolly.
Yeah, Mike Tirico, legend of the broadcasting community, and we'll see a lot more of him. Not only for Sunday Night Football, but isn't he going to be doing the NBA on NBC, which returns in the fall?
He will be.
I've been seeing those commercials more and more. But speaking of the NBA, I know Brian wanted to talk about the NHL first.
No,
but
he didn't want to talk about anything. He just wanted to keep humming the soundtrack to NBA on TV.
Basketball.
It's catchy,
So
man.
catchy.
It's catchy. I'll give it to them. They know what they're doing there. But why don't we actually talk some NBA Finals? Series is tied. So the NBA Finals tied 2-2. Look like the Indiana Pacers were going to take a commanding 3-1 series lead. I think they were up, 89-80, 89-82 in the fourth quarter, and then SGA happened.
Yeah, it was 89-80, and Jalen Williams had that last-second shot in the third. And then SGA and the extender, Scott Foster, happened to end the game. A little bit of an elbow chicken wing that SGA got away with there. But, yeah, this is what you can't do if you're the Pacers. We talk about the Thunder. You can't let the Pacers hang around. If you're the Pacers, you can't let SGA have a chance to win the game like he did and foul bait and get to the line and hit a couple mid-ranges and put it away. And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, game 4 was it was just a wild one, honestly. It was tough to keep up. I thought like the momentum just kept swinging in ways that honestly didn't make sense for what that's worth. But I think it's pretty interesting. You bringing up Scott Foster, who, the Pacers head coach, Rick Carlisle, he had to go and defend Scott Foster after that game 4, saying he's getting too much hate. It's unfair. I think the quote he used is, "It's unfair and unjust." Everything that Scott Foster has done for the past decade is unfair and unjust.
Whenever the unjust comes out, that's when you know it was not, in fact, unjust. And it's just somebody trying to cover for him.
Scott Foster was in the ring of gambling degenerate NBA referees in the early 2000s.
They call him the extender for a reason.
Like, what are we talking? Like, too much heat. This guy is already compromised. This guy is already not ethical in the way he goes about his job. So yeah, I don't think there's any defense to be had. I think any hate, if you're going to hate, is fully just. You said unjust, fully just.
And
Scott Foster.
That's what I would think of anybody. Everybody on the Pacers would be on board with that. But head coach, he's defending them. It's pretty crazy to see. But I mean, look, this has been an awesome series so far. I know, everybody can have their own opinion, but we're 2-2. Brian, I think you said it really well. We're going back to OKC for game 5. It's a best of 3 series now. Everybody gets one. We're going back and forth. 2 out of 3 series. It's anybody's game. I thought that the Pacers, if they were to have gone up 3-1, that would have been it. But Brian, we saw this coming. We said they're going to split games 3 and games 4, games 3 and 4 in Indiana, and then go back. And we projected this.
Yeah, we did. And like the hockey, I thought it would be the other way around. I thought the Thunder would get 3, and then the Pacers in a must-win game 4, we got game 4. But it just so happened to be the other way. And I hate to give Stephen A. Smith credit, especially after the picture of him playing solitaire during the game went viral on Twitter. But he did say this felt like a game 7 in terms of if the Pacers wanted to win this series, they had to win game 4. And they couldn't get it done. And I don't know. It's just it feels like now the Thunder are going to win it in 6, especially after the Pacers finally lost at home. First time they lost with Caitlin Clark in attendance in this playoffs. Now you don't have that going for you. I don't know what you do have going for you.
Yeah, if you don't have your gay Mets, trinkets or whatever.
Don't talk about the gay Mets. The gay Mets are dead. They just got swept in June.
Yeah, well, if you don't have your things going for you, I mean, the Caitlin Clark, home series, the home.
I hate that I brought that up.
Wins. I mean, you don't have that thing going for you. It's tough, man. We saw it fry out for who. What happened with your Mets? They stopped inviting Grimace to the games last year, and then they floundered out. Yeah.
Well, the Dodgers just happen to be the Dodgers. The Mets are still the best team since Grimace threw out the first pitch last year.
I texted Brian on Thursday and said this was happen, and the Phillies just swept the Blue Jays, and the Mets got swept. But totally okay.
It is.
Totally okay.
Those are the records since Matt did text me. But I will say this is a baseball season. Things happen. Just a week ago, the Phillies got swept by the Pirates, and the Mets swept whoever they played. So these things happen.
Pretty good
Totally-
coincidence. That we can
Totally
call it.
just hijacked the basketball segment. My apologies.
No, I want to jump back into the basketball because we can do some more projecting or predicting. Game 5 tonight. Jack, who wins?
The Thunder at home.
Brian?
The Thunder win at home. And I do, before you give your prediction, I want to say one stat because it is a crazy stat.
Here we go.
Siakam had 4 steals in the first quarter. That was the second most all time in a finals game in a quarter. The first, this guy changed his name again. I did not know that. This was almost my Michael of the Week until I found a better Michael of the Week. Meta Sandiford Artest had 5 steals in a quarter in an NBA Finals game.
Not Meta World Peace.
I was going to say that's where my
Not-
head went.
It is Meta World Peace or Ron Artest, but his name is now Meta Sandiford Artest.
Oh, Lordy. Wait, what was the stat again? I got
Pascal
I see.
Siakam had 4 steals in the first quarter. That was the second most in a quarter all time in the finals.
since Ron Artest did it,
He had 5. That's the most
But-
ever.
but you had to say his new real name.
Yeah.
I
He
just
was
wanted-
Ron Artest when he did it. And then he changed his name to Meta World Peace. And now he's combined. He's Super Saiyan. He's Meta Sandiford Artest.
Sandiford.
Sandiford.
Where the hell do you get
Interesting.
that from?
I don't know.
I mean, this guy's clearly off his rocker. Before we go to the NHL, we're still in the NBA. We talked a little bit about Scott Foster and the officiating. There's been a lot of buzz about the MLB umpires. I think we've had this debate before. I'm not sure, but of the 4 sports leagues, who has the worst officiating? Or we can
NBA.
rank them.
Basketball. And
But
it's
is that
not
right
NBA
now it's
also
baseball.
hardest to judge too, right?
Yeah,
Because
it is.
Baseball by far
NBA is
right now.
very like subjective.
it's very
with
subjective.
calling. Yeah. NBA or MLB's cut and dry. It's either a striker or not. You know what I mean?
If you're counting just this year, it's baseball. The MLB
Yeah.
umpires have been terrible.
They have been.
Well, I mean, I still think that it's tough to judge basketball and to ref basketball, but the NBA refs are terrible. They change the games, man. They want to throw a bias in there and let SGA get his calls.
Yeah.
The Thunder win the basketball game. They don't want to let SGA get his calls. The Pacers win the basketball game. It's really that simple sometimes.
I don't think it's that egregious. The one thing that was bad in game 4 was the chicken wing. Like all the other non-calls and stuff, it's like, I don't know. The Pacers
you
fans
act
getting
like-
mad about Halliburton flailing when he gets barely touched.
But you're acting like the chicken wing is like, oh, this happened one time in game 4. This has been happening the entire playoffs.
You guys,
I think you just have a vendetta against SGA.
Well, I had the same vendetta against Harden when he was doing it in Houston. Play basketball.
SGA does
I
more.
understand. I hear some of these like players and coaches talking about the foul baiting like it's a skill or like a trait that you can have. And if you want to look at it that way, sure, fine. Like maybe that's even the right way to look at it. But I hate that. That takes away from what you're actually doing, which is playing basketball.
Yeah,
Swing the
I
ball
really don't
around,
think it's bad with
take it to
SGA
the
though.
buck.
Like Brunson is the key foul baiter. Like he is the number one like worst at doing that, and that's how he scores. Like SGA, he knows how to draw a foul, but he can also drop 10 straight mid-range jumpers on you, and that's how he can beat you. Jalen Brunson's going to go to the line 20 times.
Brunson can also do that. I don't think it's
When
fair
Brunson
to
needs
say
a
that
bucket, he's going to
Brunson's
try to
anywhere.
get fouled.
yeah, I think
So does
SGA.
No.
Yes, look at
When SGA
somebody.
needs a bucket, he's going to take a step back mid-range and silence the crowd.
He's gonna take it into the lane, and yeah, he's gonna try and do some footwork, something. But I've seen it happen multiple times where there's like 10 seconds left in the game, and he's running down the court trying to do some crazy layup, and like literally jumps into somebody on the other team and throws in the shot. And look, he's great at making those off balance, with contest shots. But he's the one that's initiating that contact. I'm not. I will die on this hill. I'm not a fan of him. I'm not a fan of the way Harden did it. Brunson, that's hard for me to watch. I'm a Knicks fan. I like watching Jalen Brunson do his thing, score the basketball. But I will also say I don't like it when he does that. I don't like when anybody does that. Swing the basketball around, get your teammates involved, break some ankles. Don't be stopping and mid drive and jumping backwards into somebody and like hitting them with like your shoulder in the
SGA doesn't do
chin.
that though. That's what Brunson does, and that's what Harden did.
They all do
That's
it,
not what-
Brian. Don't
no.
try to act like SGA is not in this group. He is 1,000%
He's
in this
above
group.
what James Harden was. James Harden held the ball, dribbled around for 20 seconds, and then got fouled. That's not what SGA does.
I don't think you guys are going to see eye to eye on this one.
We're not. Look at the foul numbers and then try and tell me that SGA.
Daniel
doesn't go
Jones is
blind
the
more than
same
everybody
quarterback
else.
as Trevor Lawrence.
Here we go.
Brian, you just you want me to leave? Like, what's the point of this? You trying to get your? I'm not getting riled up for you.
Pause.
Blasphemy for our readers, for our listeners.
I think the fans appreciate the back and forth for Giants and Jags from time to time, especially when it's.
But we're not
thrown
talking about the Giants. We're talking
Wait,
about the Colts.
okay. While
now.
we're on the subject,
Well, the majority of his stats.
I don't think
came
you
when he
were-
played for the Giants.
I don't think you heard this, Jack, when I was talking to it about Matt. But can we talk about you getting owned on Twitter by that Titans fan?
Oh, did he respond?
He called you views from Cuck.
View
Yeah, I don't. It's
could have been better. I mean,
Could have been. I think
you-
could have been
you-
a little better.
views from cuck, views from asshole, views from jerk. Like is that good?
But
He just
you,
chose
like,
a word.
you invaded his DMs. Then he's like, "Thanks for reading views from Cuck." I thought it was funny. Invaded his timeline, whatever you want to call it.
DMs. Brian, you got all right. Everybody listening, let me set the story straight. Some Titans fan is on Twitter and he's talking about how he's making a list of like the most overrated NFL wide receivers of the past like 20 or 25 years. And he was like, Brian Thomas Jr., easy top 5.
So that clearly rubbed you the wrong way.
Oh, it did. Oh, that rubbed me the wrong way. But I'm not in his DMs. I just did a simple reply on Twitter. It's a social media. I'm trying to be social and respond to this guy. And basically just like, I don't remember exactly what I said, but just something along the lines of like, Brian, this guy thinks about Brian Thomas when he goes to sleep at night, like rent free. I think that's exactly what I said, which is true. I mean, how do you wake up in the morning, say, I'm going to tweet that Brian Thomas is a top 5 most overrated receiver in NFL history? Like you're just mad that you have Treylon Burks, dude.
Is he still in the league?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a top 5 wide receiver according to Cam Ward.
Hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, I think that he's more rent free in your head for you going out of the way to. Do you follow him? Like, how did you find this post?
It just popped up on my Twitter. Isn't that what happens with tweets?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't see tweets from like random Phillies fans talking about Pete Alonso being overrated.
When you scroll your feed, and
surprised you don't. I always see like Texans fans and Titans fans.
Maybe
well, this is what
choose violence on social media, so the algorithm wants you to be violent.
Listen,
bro, all there is violence on social media.
Listen for a sec. This is what the difference is, Jack. You're and I do it too. If you're scrolling on the For You page, I see a lot of like.
No, that's what I do too.
Stuff. You're on the following, dude.
I'm not on the following.
Yeah, you're on the following, dude.
It's just
no, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. Down, dude. We're on the For You page, so that's why
I'm on the For You right now. I'll go through. I'm on the For You. I have Rafeal Devers, Mets, Rafeal Devers, Quinn Preister, Rafeal Devers. That's my For You page.
Did you get the Rafeal Devers notification?
Rafeal Devers.
Yeah.
And then I have a potential Jaron Duran trade with the Mets trading Brandon Sproat and Tyler McGill. Everyone on social media is dumb.
You're on the following, dude.
I am on the following.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to say.
The For You.
No.
Now I'm on the following.
He's all over, dude.
No.
Now let's go through my following. I am on Mets, Pitching Ninja, Rafeal Devers, Jake Marsh, John Heyman, Drake May, the putt to win the U.S. Open, Rafeal Devers. It's the same thing. U.S.
you
national
got me
team.
Curious now. You got me curious. What a putt. Brian, baseball highlight. Random NBA.
Podcasting.
Blake Bortles clip. What up, boat? And then we're talking about Angel Reese. I mean, dude, my timeline's random as shit. I get everything. I mean, the reason, Brian, to answer your original question, the reason why that popped up on my For You is because bro was talking about Brian Thomas Jr., and that's my guy.
I guess the Brian Thomas Jr. part. Yeah, I don't see a lot of hate in mine, though. I guess I just don't respond to as many people as you do. Maybe that's what it is. Like, they want you to respond, and you're getting the tweets that elicit response. You're getting the rage bait.
I'm getting the rage bait.
I think I've been on this thing too long where I'm like, I'm not going to respond to people.
Since Rafeal Devers is obviously big in the news, and I know we're like jumbling or whatever segments.
As long as we can delay Jack talking about the Panthers, the better.
That's fine. Well, I have a question. What involvement, not that anybody's going to know the answer, what involvement does Jonathan Papelbon have with the Red Sox organization?
I don't think any, but that was a crazy tweet.
Is he involved or is he not involved? Like, if he's in the front office and he's tweeting that, then I think there's something to be said. But if he's just like on his couch bored tweeting that, then I think that's ridiculous.
All right, excuse me for being completely uneducated right here, but what did Jonathan Papelbon do?
I think
as far as
what
I'm
happened
concerned, he just
was
won
he
the Red
saw
Sox World Series.
Oh, he doubled back down on it and said, "Sorry, I was wrong. Everyone go crazy. Devers got traded."
So I think he saw the original tweet from Robert Murray, I believe, is who broke it. And he's like, oh, Robert Murray, I've never heard of that guy. Everyone relax. And then he saw Jeff Passan and was like, oh, shit. Because these were very close. Because the original one was at 7:17 and the second one was 7:26.
Someone probably called him right after that.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, you can't be tweeting this. Okay.
What did he say?
He just
said everyone relax.
Yeah.
Devers isn't getting traded. And then he quoted himself and said, sorry, I was wrong. Everyone go crazy. Devers just got traded.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to think
involvement in the front office. I mean, this is your team, Jack.
Yeah, but I would have to, I was going to say, I would have to think that he's just a fan, like most ex-players are. Like, I'm trying to think of another good example, but you see guys commenting on how their team is doing things nowadays all the time now, you know, especially with social media. Everyone's got a podcast and this and that. Like, you know, Jason Kelsey commenting on the Eagles or whatever.
John Crooks on TV is the most biased play-by-play announcer in the business.
Yeah, you see that kind of stuff all the time. But as far as I'm concerned, was Jonathan Papelbon done for the Red Sox? Nothing but win World Series. So I'm good with him.
Cool.
I don't care. I don't care if he has a couple missed tweets. It's okay.
I just didn't know if, like, what they do with former players, they bring him back into the building and get him in the front office. I didn't know if he was involved or not.
Was it Bryce Harper he fought in the Nationals dugout?
Yeah, he fought Bryce Harper. He caused scenes in the Phillies dugout, like crashed out in the Phillies dugout.
God, he was a Philly. That dude was a crackhead.
Oh, yeah. He was a crackhead on the Phillies, dude.
He got in a couple.
He was like our best reliever for like 2 years. I swear to God. And then like that was after it evolved into like giving Jake Arrieta way too much money. And then that kind of set everything back for like a couple of years. Then we signed Harper. The rest has been history.
Cannot believe the Nats ended up letting him go.
The Nats are a poverty organization. And it's okay. I mean, and they won a World Series.
It's the reason why.
It's the reason why. All right. Why are you looking at me funny, Brian?
I'm looking at Jack funny.
Why?
How is them being a poverty organization the reason they won a World Series?
Oh, no. I was saying that's the reason why, like,
they let him leave.
Harper's not there anymore.
Okay.
Soto's not there anymore. It's just because they're a poverty organization.
Yeah, they're going to lose James Wood soon, too.
CJ Abrams.
Brian, you know what? This is your fault, though. You're the one that lives in D.C. Why are you not rejuvenating the D.C. baseball community?
Yeah. I hate them. The Nationals are like my third most hated baseball team. I hate those guys. Sean Doolittle and Anthony Rendon and Gerardo Parra.
Go back to New York.
Who's go back to New York. Just flexing.
It's never in New York.
Crazy. Who's the Nationals closer now? Finneran?
Kyle Finnegan. He's like their only good reliever.
That guy pisses me off. Would love him on the Phils, but pisses me off. Anyway, let's for the sake of time move on here to the Stanley Cup playoffs, where the Florida Panthers took control back in the series. They take the lead 3-2, headed back home to Florida for game 6.
Yep.
See what happens, man. I mean, I don't see how they don't wrap this one up.
Series should have been wrapped up already. I cannot believe they choked away
They
game
blew
4.
it. Yeah.
That was tough, man. Started out so hot, 3-0, and then they just dropped 3 straight, and then it takes a Sam Bennett 18, 20 seconds left maybe in the game to push them into OT. You were winning this game 3-0 at the end of the first period, and then you need a last second goal to push you into OT. I can't, and then they end up losing it. But I can't believe they choked that game away. Showed back up game 5 looking as they should, as they have been. Won that one in Edmonton for their 10th road win this postseason, setting a new NHL record. Pretty impressive. But yeah, dude, I mean, it's simple as that. They are the better team. I fully believe that. I think a lot of people watching this series believe that. But Edmonton's just been finding ways here and there they're like the Pacers. It's like the Thunder and the Pacers, man.
Dude, Brad Marchand is so good.
So good.
I don't know why I didn't place a
So
future
good.
bet when he was acquired at the deadline from the Boston Bruins. He might not be the best player in the NHL, but to add a guy like that to your team, what's the equivalent in baseball or the NFL making a move like that at the deadline?
I'm trying to.
You said what?
Yoenis Cespedes.
To the Mets?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they won it that year?
They did make the World Series, and then
they made it that year when they had John Meyerbeer Jr. hitting cleanup for them for most of the year.
They got cooked by the Royals, dude. That would haunt me.
I'm thinking back when Brady was on the Bucks. Didn't they have their Super Bowl year? Didn't they make like a midseason acquisition for someone that ended up doing something and helping them get over the hump? Because they ended up winning the Super Bowl that year.
They did. Antonio Brown, or they just he got cut by the Patriots and they just kind of signed him, right?
Yeah, I wish I came.
Guys that they brought in. I don't know.
They brought a lot of guys in
off season or the.
Wasn't Gronk on the team for a year too, or no?
Yeah, he came over with Brady though.
Yeah. But
with them, honestly, it could have been a lot of mid-season signings where they just brought guys off the street and Brady was like, "You want a ring?"
Yeah, you want a ring? Here you go, and they got it done.
Did the Eagles make a move like that this year?
They were just good from the start.
Oh, the Lions did. The Lions brought in
Zadarius Smith.
Yeah, Zadarius Smith. I think that's exactly who it was. The Lions, who were number 1 team in the NFC at the deadline, they brought in Zadarius Smith. I can't remember if that was before or after Hutchinson went down.
After.
It was after. Okay, so yeah.
Football is not really a big trade deadline. Basketball and baseball are 2 big ones. I can't really remember the basketball one.
Baseball's there's always stuff going down on deadline day.
Yeah, baseball, it's because of the whole minor league system, and you can get rid of the prospects for the good. That's the only sport you can do that.
Yeah, no, the Eagles' big move was Saquon Barkley drafting Quinyon Mitchell.
We know.
Drafting Quinyon Mitchell and signing C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And then, yeah, those are probably the 3 moves that help solidify the Super Bowl run. Anyway, any other thoughts on Stanley Cup? What do we have? Game 6 Tuesday night?
Yes, Monday.
Or is that tomorrow?
We might have Monday.
No. Do we have back-to-back?
That's Monday.
Yeah, we got a YouTube TV multi-view.
We do.
It's tonight, folks.
I feel like that's, commissioners or whoever can communicate and be like, look, let's maximize our views here. We'll go Monday, you go Tuesday. I don't know how that all gets worked out, but it just seems like they should not both be on the same night when it's the only 2 things going on.
Yeah. Maybe not.
Yeah, we'll see that. But before we get into the Michael of the Week, Brian, Sunday Night Baseball out in LA. Sun is still out. Bother you?
Baseball, no. Football,
No.
yes.
football, it would be irritating. Okay. So we work through that. For the people who don't know, Brian doesn't like when national broadcast games at night and it's still light outside.
Complete nonsense.
Jack, have you heard this before?
Yes.
Oh, the whole Auburn community knew of the take as soon as I stepped foot on that campus.
Yes, the build a roof. Yes, we're well aware. Brian's hard.
We would have had a weather delay today in the U.S. Open if they would have built the roof on Oakmont.
Yeah, well, that's impossible. Golf's meant to be outside.
You could have it outside. You just build a little canopy.
Stop it. They do play in the rain. There's
no need to play in the rain, though. Football is the only sport that should be played in the rain.
That's it?
Yep.
Fair enough. All right. Michael of the week. As always, we do it every week here. Brian with the quick switch. Brian, you look ready to go. Hit us with what you got.
I teased it in the open. I have another 1800s baseball team for you guys.
You did say that.
Oh, wait. No, I don't. That's not my Michael of the week. Never mind. Actually, yeah, you know what? It will be my Michael of the week, and we'll talk about the other Michael of the week in Summer Breeze. The Rockies, through 70 games, are 13-57.
13 wins, record. Baby. They're up to 13 wins.
Worst record since the 1899 Cleveland Spiders. When asked about that, Kyle Farmer replied, "We don't care."
Somebody asked him?
Yep.
I mean, that's a pretty jackass question to ask the guy who's on the team of the worst team in baseball.
Yeah, he said the Spiders went 20-134 that year. I also thought it was interesting. Their owner, Frank Robinson, also owned the St. Louis Browns. And the reason they went 20-134 was because Frank Robinson traded all the players from the Spiders to the Browns. Some of those players included Cy Young.
Interesting. What are the Rockies pacing for?
So through 70 they have 13 wins. So through 140 they would have 26 wins.
So like 35?
Yeah, around 30.
30.
That's pretty disgusting. Yeah, it's mind-boggling. But Jack, what do you got for us?
Well, I just want to say
I don't need to talk about.
I was gonna say I don't recognize.
It's gonna happen every week. They're gonna be the worst team through 80, worst team through 90, worst team through 100.
I don't.
The Rockies suck. Move on.
Stop bringing up teams from the 1800s. There were a couple things I was thinking about making my Michael this week. Kind of a tough one for me. I was thinking, maybe I could touch on the Red Sox finally trading away Rafeal Devers. I also saw some idiot on Twitter said that they should put a roof over the U.S. Open course. So, there were a couple different things I could have. The Real B Houch or something.
You actually tweeted this out?
Yeah, Brian actually tweeted out, "Build a roof over the U.S. Open course," and it was probably
I said, "Build the roof at U.S. Open golf," and I put at U.S. Open, and I accidentally tweeted at the tennis tournament, so I had to delete it and then type it again. It's at the right U.S. Open.
Joke so good you had to say it twice. Yeah. But no, the one that I really wanted to touch on, and I'm surprised we haven't yet, but Desmond Bane, 4 first-round picks, Cole Anthony, are we serious? 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane? I mean, let's talk about this for a second. Anytime you want any, dare I say, big name player in the NBA, it usually costs around 4 first-round picks, something egregious like that. You think like the Harden trades, the KD trades, they're always these massive hauls. This is Desmond Bane. And I know that he's a good player. I know he's a good player.
Here's the question for you. Is Desmond Bane better than Mikal Bridges, or is Mikal Bridges better than Desmond Bane?
I mean,
it's close, right?
They're different players. It depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah, it's close. Bridges went for 5. So this is comparable.
Yeah, Bane is a very good player, and I think it's a move.
Wait, Bridges went for 5 first-round picks?
Yes, the NBA is drunk with trades, dude.
Yeah,
that's what people don't understand. They react to this, and they're like, 4 first-round picks.
It's first-round picks that are 5 years down the line.
They're trading fifth graders.
Some of them are I think they get a pick this year, next year, but then some of the other ones are like, 4 or 5 years down the line. So it's not that it's like a fake pick, but it's just totally irrelevant right now.
I guess, I mean, it makes sense. Teams don't build their team through the draft in the NBA like they do other sports. Even a perfect example is the Magic. A guy like Jalen Suggs, they took at the very start of the draft 3 years ago. That was now. And he's just now going to come in and be like their starting point guard now that they dealt Cole Anthony. He's going to be that guy now for them. It's been 3-4 years since he was that guy in college, got drafted, and now he's going to be, that guy for them. It takes a long time if you're trying to build through the draft.
Yeah, unless you draft a generational talent like Cooper Flagg and trade away Luka Doncic. But I like the Magic. The Magic are good, and they were a good team. And Desmond Bane, I almost said Jalen Suggs. Desmond Bane makes him a very good team. And with Jason Tatum out next year, it could make something happen in the East.
Yeah, he definitely couldn't. Bane absolutely is a player that kind of fits what they're trying to do there. So if it works out for them and that's what they needed to do, and they're kind of they are in win now mode. They just made the playoffs, and now they're trying to double down to win it again. But it screams a little bit of desperation for me out of the Magic. I don't know that they needed to go, because you got to understand Cole Anthony, KCP, which whatever that's worth, and
he's
then
been trash for years.
Yeah, he's been
since that Nuggets run
all over the place. But 2 players and 4 picks, like I get it. Like if it makes the team better and they don't need it, whatever. But it seems a little desperate.
My thing is we need to be celebrating moves like this because as a public, and again, I'm going to go back to the Twitter idiots, but it's either you're down in mediocrity, waiting to try to trust the process and court all these picks, or you're a team with LeBron James or Jason Tatum and you're going for it. We should be celebrating teams trying to go for it and trying to take that next step instead of just staying in rebuilding, in perennial rebuild. And that's what the Magic are doing here. Maybe it won't work, but they're trying. And we as fans need to celebrate that because that's what makes sports better.
I like that take, Brian. I do. And I bet Desmond Bane's happy getting out of the West, jumping over the East, and just having an easier time to get through to the playoffs. And the Magic have made the playoffs the past 2 years. We've been saying it both times. They're a first-round exit team, and they needed help to rise above that. See, my problem is I don't think that their Desmond Bane was that one player they needed. I still don't think that they're more than an Eastern Conference Finals team. They're not better than the Knicks. They're not better than the Pacers.
Go to Eastern Conference Finals next year, and then you maybe get a free agent that's like, oh, maybe I'm the next piece that could put them over the top. It's a stepping stone that now you don't have to wait for those picks to develop into something when Paolo Banchero's 35 years old.
I get it, but do me a favor. Where do you see them now? How much does this really move the needle for them? They're not over the Cavs. They're not over the Celtics, the Knicks, the Pacers. You putting them
go in that 5 or 6 seed and maybe win the first round of the playoffs and then maybe get lucky and go to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then a young team's like, oh, Paolo's going to enter his prime. Franz Wagner's entering his prime. Desmond Bane's scoring 25 a game and shooting 40% from 3. Maybe I have that missing piece that could get him past an aging Celtics team or a Knicks team that doesn't really have an identity now. I don't know.
So you don't think the window is really open for this next year? They still need another free agent.
I have no idea because the Pacers are proving everyone wrong. So who knows?
Well, and that was the next point I was going to make is if they do go on a run next year with Desmond Bane, him being the catalyst, the factor that actually lets that happen. I feel like we're going to be talking about them like the Pacers. They're not. It's a Cinderella run. And I don't think that's what you want to do when you're giving up 4 first-round picks is going for a Cinderella run. I think you want to be a little bit more sure than that.
Look, I like to see the Cinderella run in the NBA. It was not that it was watered down, but it was almost so predictable for the last decade plus of who we knew was going to make it and not. We had LeBron for 20 years and then into like the Golden State dynasty. I guess the Raptors kind of came out of nowhere in 2019 with Kawhi Leonard. That was not really on anybody's bingo card, but I'm all for the unpredictability and, seeing these, maybe not even Cinderella, but just like, I don't want to already know what's going to happen before it happens. I want the unpredictable. So like you said, Brian, I think you said like, we got to celebrate this because it'll make teams we haven't seen relevant, hopefully more relevant come playoff time.
Yep. Just stop saying teams got fleeced. I mean, okay, the Red Sox got fleeced. We can laugh at them, but let the Magic try to be competitive.
For Devers?
Yeah.
I was going to say, dude, they wanted him gone so bad. They probably are like, we're so happy he's out of here. They don't feel fleeced.
Yeah, I mean, he's only 28, which I think is wild to just dump him like that, but
it's not about the skill. I mean, dude can absolutely crank a baseball, but it's more about how he was acting in the clubhouse. I mean, and this is just from what I'm hearing, obviously, but the whole issue with Bregman playing third and him having to go to DH and I think they asked him to play first base at one point. He was like, I'm not going to do it, or whatever. It was just not the kind of guy that, the kind of guy at work that produces results, but no one wants to be around. They don't last long.
Yeah, that's kind of what you had there. But see how it plays out, man. The Giants that could have been a Michael of the week in itself. The Red Sox unloading.
I had it in Summer Breeze. We'll talk about it again.
Well, yeah, we'll get into it in just a minute. My Mike of the week is I saw over the weekend that Antonio Brown is facing murder charges.
Yeah.
Michael of the week right there. What the hell happened?
You see, I'm not that surprised by that.
Well, I was
going
just
off
like,
the rocker.
Yeah, I mean, he is definitely going off the rocker, but like, just like you always expect to see something, but like, dude, a murder charge, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't look into it too much. I just got the notification.
Apparently, shots were fired. Shots were fired at a celebrity boxing event hosted by Aiden Ross. Like,
there was that
what the hell is
story
going on?
like a month ago that said he was detained by police, but later they found it was a self-defense thing and he was let go. Apparently, it wasn't self-defense and he tried to kill someone.
So, like, is he now back in police custody?
I guess.
He's a serious charge. Like,
I mean, after seeing that headline, he's either in police custody or he's at large. There's no in between at that point. Yeah, there's
a white Bronco.
There's no in between at that point.
Yeah, I'm looking. Charge of attempted murder with a firearm, according to a warrant. So I guess there's a warrant out for his arrest for attempted murder. Jeez, which is insane.
What a waste of a career.
Yeah.
And it's crazy too, because you hear everybody talk about Antonio Brown and everyone's like, he was legitimately the best receiver.
He was on the cover of Madden. He's getting picked 101 in fantasy drafts for like 3 years.
One of the craziest things though is like you talk to people like you listen to people talk who were players. Like we're talking about actual guys who were throwing him the football, the Tom Brady's of the world. They were like, he was the best receiver I've ever played with. It's like, it's just crazy how skilled and gifted and dominant he was, and just to see that flame out. But like, him, Le'Veon Bell, like all those Steelers had some issues for a while. I wonder what's in the water in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, total waste of a career. I mean, this guy, would he have still been relevant right now, you think? Like, still playing if he just kind of had all his wits about him?
He could have survived in the slot. He's 36. I just looked up his Google page, and it has overview and then songs. Like, normally I'll have stats for a wide receiver. He just has overview and songs. That's a good summation of where he's at right now. But
yeah,
he'd still be playing. Although Odell's like out of the league now. So
yeah, and how old's Odell?
He's probably even younger. Probably 34.
Yeah, I mean, he had some
32.
ACL. Yeah, Odell's 32.
Yeah,
AB
he really flamed out.
I guess he was good right away, so we just think he was older.
Right. He was good right away, and then just
His first 3 years, he had 1,300, 1,450, 1,400, 12, 13, 10 touchdowns, and then it just went to shit.
and then went to shit. Got paid, went to shit. We see it all the time. But yeah, I mean, AB, another
He started hopping out the cars and dancing to Drake.
yeah. That's what we see now. But no, that's the Michael of the week. We'll jump over now to the Summer Breeze segment where we bridge the gap over the summer to
Jack, smile a little bit, will you?
try and look entertained. What's on your guys' mind? What are we talking about today?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned, gentlemen. So we're hosting the World Cup next summer,
Right.
and we have the Gold Cup now. I think as we're recording this, the U.S. is playing Trinidad and Tobago, however you say it. Our best player is beefing with our coach. It's not good. Mauricio Pochettino is mad at Christian Pulisic because Christian Pulisic is tired and doesn't want to play in the Gold Cup. And then he tried to play in some friendlies, and Mauricio basically told him to F off. If you're not committing to the Gold Cup, you can't play in friendlies. He said, I am a head coach. I am not a mannequin.
Is this head coach a new head coach? Because weren't you guys?
Yeah, we got Berhalter out. All the
Okay.
hashtags finally worked.
Yeah, you guys were beefing with that old U.S. soccer coach. I didn't know if we still have him or not.
He was
Greg with 2 G's.
Yeah, I mean, the new guy Pochettino was, pretty like well respected and good at his job, manager in Europe for a decent amount of time. I think his famous run was he brought Tottenham to a Champions League final where they, I think, ultimately lost to Liverpool. But that was like, that's a pretty big run for him to be in charge of. And, it's just kind of what we've been talking about, not even maybe us, but just the state of U.S. soccer. Like, I don't think you bring Jurgen Klopp in. I don't think a manager is going to fix just kind of like the lack of talent we have. And these guys are talented and good at soccer and this, that, whatever you want to say. But what's already out there in the rest of the world, we're just always going to be behind when it comes to soccer or football, if you want to call it that.
We need to somehow typo that Yamal kid's birth certificate and have him have like a grandfather from the U.S. so we can get him to play for us. I think that's our best shot.
Yeah, they kind of started that with we have Florian Balogun, who
he sucks though.
He's basically English and like from the UK, but I guess there was some loophole that allowed him to be a US citizen. And more of these guys should do it because, there's a lot of good players on the like heavily stacked national teams that, on the depth chart, they're behind a lot of players. But if they just switch to US citizenship, they'd get their shot right away.
Yeah, but you see guys do that, players in the NBA do that for the Olympics all the time.
Yeah, so it's I think that's our path to success for U.S. soccer. It's not no coach is fixing it, and to be quite honest, our youth academy and programs of bringing kids up and developing talent and having them be on the men's national team. There will be times when we're good and times when we're bad, but like to win the World Cup, it's going to have to come from, I think, other footballers changing their nationality or citizenship. I guess you can't change the nationality, but you can change the citizenship and become United, be in the U.S.
Need an NIL for green cards.
Maybe you're onto something.
Might piss some people off in today's world, but no. Yeah, let's listen. The U.S. soccer is not going to get better if we have the coach beefing with our best player.
No, it's not. That's a different conversation to be had. And the World Cup's next year, man, and it's on our soil. I'm not expecting them to win the entire thing, but when you're playing at home, there should be – that's good for, I think, at least 2 or 3 wins and to maybe go on a run, just having it on your home soil. So they got to figure it out. And be whatever their best is, they got to be at it. I'm not saying their best is going to be them winning it all, but whatever their best is, it's going to have to be. I think the ceiling for them is like winning a knockout game. Like if they get to what's the first one? Round of 16.
Yes.
If they get to the round of 16 and win that game and take a team in the quarterfinals to extra time and lose, I really think that's their ceiling. And that could change as we're, a year away. But right now, that's probably their ceiling. Their floor, not making it out of the group stage.
Which beat England.
Yeah. Well, I wonder where we find out the groups.
It's like Michigan and Ohio State. Just beat England.
If we beat England and then England wins it all, it's not a real World Cup. It never came home. You lost the U.S.
And it's Mickey Mouse. But, yeah, Jack, what's on your mind, man, that you wanted to bring up today?
Yeah. Nothing, man.
You want to talk some Devers? Your team just got rid of their best player.
Best player?
Yeah.
Maybe. But no, dude, like I said, or like our boy Nick Stewart said, the Red Sox, he was wrong about them. They are not it this year. And there's so many reasons why, injuries, this, that, the third. But one of the big reasons is you guys got people like they have Rafeal Devers in the clubhouse. Guys who don't want to be there, don't want to play baseball for the love of the game. He's there because, he wants to get paid. I don't blame him for that. But when your team asks you to play third or play first or DH or whatever, you do it. You're an athlete. You're a professional athlete. Be a professional.
Is he really that much of an athlete, though? They're calling Deebo Samuel fat. Rafeal Devers is pretty close to what Debo's looking like.
Dude, yeah, look, see the videos?
Debo's one of the best athletes.
Debo sounds so funny, too.
Did you see the videos?
Yeah, he's thick. He's thick, but he's still one of the best athletes I've ever seen put on an NFL jersey. Seeing everything.
But he wasn't fat when he was running around like that.
Is he the what? No way.
You asked me if he's athletic, Brian. Yes, he's athletic. Is Rafeal Devers athletic? Yes. Anybody who plays professional sports is athletic.
Dude, there's been some baseball players that I wouldn't call athletic.
Pablo Sandoval, athletic. Prince Fielder, athletic.
Bartolo Colon?
In his day? Are you kidding me?
Dude, this guy hit a home run.
Yeah. That's a Grinky.
Yeah, it's close. I think he is
some borderline guys.
It is athletic, but Bartolo Colon's a good example of it being very close.
Yes, still very close, but the fact that he was able to whip the bat around on an 85, 90 mile an hour pitch and send it 400 feet is very impressive and athletic.
Especially as a pitcher. So,
what about like R.A. Dickey?
R.A. Dickey, like the old knuckleball pitcher?
Yeah, he's like an old head throwing 70 mile per hour knuckleballs up there.
Like, I think he's still athletic to
now he's probably like 50, 60. Like, no,
I'm talking about when he played.
Like in their heyday.
Yes. You're an athlete if you play professional sports.
Maybe I'm just. I'm saying
if you play, maybe I should not say that. If you play baseball, you're athletic. Period. Even
what other sport are you trying to shit on here?
Maybe darts. You might not have to be that athletic for darts. You just have to do this.
What's the bulletproof guy's name, Matt?
What do you mean?
The darts guy that comes out to bulletproof?
Stephen Bunting.
Is he an athlete?
Yeah. See, now that's a different case.
That's another question.
Yeah. But
the guys you see
I won't rip on darts. Some of those walkouts are electric.
They are. Yeah. Some of those games that you see on the Ocho, ESPN 8, the Ocho, cornhole, that might be another one where you don't really need to be athletic. But, brother, come on. Don't be shitting on baseball players.
I want to be in that room when the U.S. beats England in the World Cup. That would be a fun room to be in. All right, but yeah, okay, I'll call baseball players athletes. Rafeal Devers is an athlete. He still looks like a Ninja Turtle, but he's an athlete.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Some of them might be overweight. A lot of overweight baseball players have been incredibly phenomenal. We already mentioned a couple like Prince Fielder, but another one, CC Sabathia. He's
skinny now.
Yeah, I know. But when he was at his best, he had extra weight on him. He had a little extra pounds and momentum to get behind that fastball. And when he was pitching for the Yanks, at least, and when he was at his biggest, that's when he was his most dominant. So, being a little overweight can help you in baseball. Don't forget that.
Definitely can. But
oh, wait. Here's the most obvious one. Was Babe Ruth an athlete?
we didn't see him play. We
didn't see him play.
You can see some of his swings.
Yeah, but Brian, look, if he's the Babe. He was like the GOAT baseball player back then. And yes, the Sultan, and he'd show up with a cigar in his mouth and a whiskey. And no, he didn't look athletic, but he was the most athletic in his time.
Yeah,
he's the king.
Yeah, I was just, I mean, yeah, you can't. He's regarded as on the Mount Rushmore of the game. I don't care what he was doing. You can't say this guy wasn't athletic.
Exactly. And I mean, Brian, think about
he pitched and batted and was elite at both.
Yeah. If you were going to put Shohei in Babe Ruth's era, they would have actually got down on their knees and called him a god, or banned him from playing the game because he was just too good and too unfair.
Well, they probably would have hung him for being a witch.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say something else, but
no, we're not talking about Logan Paul. Will, maybe that one shouldn't make it.
Maybe that one shouldn't.
That one does not make it. That one does not make it. Views from dark, baby.
Views after dark.
That pitch was great.
Yeah, somebody just let up a home run to a guy. Kirby Yates to a guy batting 188.
I never changed my TV. I'm watching America's Got Talent.
Nice.
Did you watch America, the Ninja Warrior one for a couple minutes?
yeah, I was watching them go around too.
That's what I had on until I switched on to baseball. But no, I didn't. I honestly U.S. Open would have been what I had to talk about, and we already kind of hit it. And Wimbledon's in a few weeks here to end June, so I don't necessarily have a rock star summer.
Ooh, wait, I did have one more for you.
All right.
I forgot about it. Before I do that, though, we will have Steve back on for Wimbledon. He did go 2-0 in his futures for Roland Garros. So make sure you stay tuned for that.
That's usually where I would go is golf or Summer Breeze, but golf kind of dominated the top of the show. So Brian, if you want to have a placeholder Summer Breeze, I mean, I got some stuff I could talk about, but if you sound like you were pretty excited to get another one in there.
Well, I forgot. It's at the very bottom of my notes. The FIFA Club World Cup is happening. Speaking of the World Cup, Bayern Munich beat a team 10-0 today. Played Auckland City FC, an amateur team from New Zealand that can't even play in their league.
Wait,
how do you know they're in New Zealand?
I know somebody from Auckland. I think Auckland's also their capital in New Zealand.
So I outed myself for being an idiot again. But yeah, they can't. There's no New Zealand league, so they play in the Australian league, which technically makes them an amateur team.
Oh, because they don't have a league. That's why they can't play there. They have to play in Australia.
Yep.
That's pretty interesting. No, I know there's a couple games in Philly, but yeah, it's the Club World Cup, so it's essentially the Club World Cup every year happens, and it's the Champions League, which is the league for all the best teams in Europe that go head to head for a season long. There's a league phase, then into the knockout and elimination side of the bracket. So that's the real what everybody cares about is the Champions League from year to year. So this is I get it. They'll still try, and I guess it'll be nice to win. But like you said, it's heavy top tier European teams taking on amateur team from New Zealand. It's this is stupid. But I guess when it gets down to it, to the semifinals and finals, we'll have that European feel, because I'm assuming all the European teams are just going to fly through this tournament until they start facing each other in the quarters and the semis. So then it might be interesting to watch then. But yeah, that's ridiculous. 10-0 should not happen in a tournament featured on the TNT networks in America.
Yeah, I watched Messi play against the Egyptian champion team for all of like 3 minutes before the Stanley Cup final came on. So it'd be maybe Inter Miami FC, or maybe just Inter Miami can make a run.
They're not going to win it. It's just the skill gap, even though they do have, and it's all the old guys, right? Like Luis Suarez, Busquets, or Sergio Busquets, and Messi. It's like
Jordi
they're
Alba's
like,
hurt. They made a big deal about him being hurt.
yeah, that would have saved them. I don't know. It's a cool tournament. It's cool because it's here too. Like there's a couple games in Philly, but other than that, like whatever about it. Champions League number one is year to year. You don't have to wait 4 years. And two, I think that's the legitimate tale of, or like technically you're the champion of Europe, but maybe one of these teams outside of Europe proves me wrong. But I'd be shocked if it's not a European team that takes this home.
Matt, do you care more about? I'm just curious. You care more about the Champions League year to year, that winner, like the club winner, over the World Cup winner every 4 years, like the country?
I mean, like, dude, I like Arsenal's my favorite team, and I support them year to year, and I care about that.
Would you rather have Arsenal win the Prem or the Champions League?
Probably Champions League. To be honest, because they've never won the Champions League. They were close this year. They made the semis. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yep.
They didn't.
The Gooners.
Yeah, they've already won. They've already won the Premier League, and they've won it quite a few. I don't know how many they have, but I think they have quite a few. So, and they're the only team to ever go invincible in the Premier League, where they went like, you know how they have wins, losses, draws. They didn't lose a game for the entire season, which is like 38 games.
Damn.
Only team to ever do it. Yeah, they call it. It was like 03, 04. They're literally, there's documentaries everywhere. It's called they're called the Invincibles, where they had a shit ton of wins, obviously, and like a couple draws and 0 losses. So the Invincible season. So
Wrexham will do it soon.
Yeah, they've won the Prem a bunch of times, and they've never won the Champions League. So they were so close this year, and I really want to see them take a title home, and we'll see what happens. But in terms, like, what's that?
Also, the Champions League, you're getting the best teams from all of the clubs, all in all the countries, all over Europe. So, or is it just Europe, or is it all over the world?
Yeah, it's just Europe.
Yeah,
that's
so I mean,
they have the chant like champions of Europe. You'll never say that, or you'll never be that. So it's basically the champion of Europe, which is, I'm trying to think of the other teams that would be in it, but either way, I would take Arsenal to win a Champions League. Would be sick. Other than that, any other questions?
I feel like you're on the stand right now.
I do.
You can be Rory McIlroy and opt out.
Happy to answer. I like when you guys ask me questions. So,
you guys been paying any more attention to the College Baseball World Series?
No.
Coastal Carolina's going to win it all.
Completely forgot that was going on.
Yeah, they're in Omaha now. I was just watching an LSU Arkansas game last night. Just
how is there not a game on right now? Or is there?
The scheduling.
I'm watching the Dodgers game and San Francisco game right now. I don't know the answer to that, but I was watching the LSU and Arkansas game last night. Not going to be able to tell you who these pitchers were. Don't remember, but everybody that they threw out on the mound in that game between those two teams, just incredible pitchers. I'm sitting there like, you guys should be in the MLB. I don't know what you're doing here, but I guess they're one step away. You're pitching in Omaha. Next year, you're probably pitching in the majors, or at least for a major league ball club.
I hate them both.
How did Murray State do?
They lost.
They lost to UCLA. It's double elimination, so they're
double
still
elimination. So they still have
another. Oh, they're still alive.
Yeah,
that's what I meant. I thought they lost twice when he said
they lost their opening game
to UCLA. Was it close?
6-4.
Okay.
They were down like 6-1, and they kind of made it close at the end.
That's a classic. Made the score look a little better than what it really was, though.
Yeah, made it look respectable. Covered the spread for some people.
Yeah,
I think the spread was actually 2.5, so might have been some angry bettors.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, there probably was, but Is Coastal the favorite to win that?
No. Oh, Coastal's playing right now. They're up 6-1
I think
over the Beavers.
Well, now it's probably changed because LSU ended up beating Arkansas. But I think Arkansas was the favorite.
Well, now I
before
got
last night's
distracted. They're showing a rerun of
Yeah, I'm finding it for you.
they're showing a rerun of the Eagles Patriots Super Bowl. So
I am not getting a future on
for
the College World Series.
Series?
No. Arkansas is -3.5 against Murray State tomorrow, though.
You can't. Maybe it'll come out in the morning when all the games are done.
Yeah, they probably want this Coastal game to end.
Yeah, and then they'll put adjusted odds out.
Murray State is the home team, though. I mean, it's
Who
in
do they
Omaha, but
Who do they play?
they get Arkansas. So Arkansas must have lost to LSU.
They did.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was trying to find the future.
Yeah, baseball's the only sport where, like, even if you're playing on a neutral site, it kind of matters if you're the home or away team, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you're in basketball and you're neutral, doesn't matter who's home away. Football at the Super Bowl, I got like whatever. But
some teams just prefer to be home or away. When it comes to baseball, and you're right, it's definitely a big difference. I mean, the other sport I'm sort of thinking of. Never mind, that was gonna be a bad take. But baseball is definitely there.
That's what Summer Breeze is for. We're all for the bad takes.
No. It would not have made sense.
All right, if you were gonna say it.
Yeah, if you were gonna have a bad take, what would it be?
If you were gonna have
if I was gonna have a really just broken, horrible take, I would say something like put a roof over a golf course.
Okay.
I didn't think you were gonna
Boo.
thought you were actually gonna say
you're gonna keep your bad take.
Brian tweeted out.
I tweet out bad takes all the time.
Put a roof over a golf course. I think whatever you're going to say would be fine. It's okay. This is a safe space.
It's okay. Just go back to the All-Star game determining who gets home field advantage in the World Series.
Stupid that they got rid of that.
I liked it.
That they got rid of it?
Yeah.
Why?
Because the AL won every year.
No, they don't.
They did pretty much every year.
Well, now that's because the Yankees were the only team that bought their whole team every year. Now you got the Dodgers out on the West Coast. It's even.
The Dodgers are always injured in July. They don't get healthy until it's annoying in September. Where is the All-Star game this year?
It's not good for the NL.
Atlanta. What, for
again?
No, it was supposed to be in Atlanta a couple years ago. And they had to move it because it was racist or something.
No. Cleveland? No.
It's in Atlanta.
Oh, they did push it. It was supposed to be in Atlanta, then they removed it.
How long ago was it at Citi Field?
It's never been at Citi Field. Stop. Oh no, it has been at Citi Field. 2013.
The year.
Yeah, David Wright, Matt Harvey started.
That was that long ago?
Yeah, it was at that home run derby. Cespedes won that home run derby.
And then we've been. I think we've been over this on the show, but next year Philly's going to be on fire, dude. The All-Star games here. The World Cup will be played in Philly with a couple group stage matches, but there's a round of 16 game that's going to be played on the 4th of July for America's 250th birthday in Philadelphia.
Yeah, also found out the Army was a year older than our country this week. But
they had a fight for the country.
But like officially, I always thought it was just the ragtag guerrilla warfare guys. But subscribe and rate us 5 stars and download so we can get Jack a plane ticket to come up to Philly to watch those games with us next year.
Yeah, I would do that. If you guys paid for my plane ticket, I'd be down.
Yeah, we got to get more boots on the ground content going ASAP.
No Rocky.
All right, that's all I have. Views from Section 400. Matt, Jack, and Brian. I'll see you guys at the midweek. Peace.
Shout out ASAP Rocky.
What do you got, Brian? I know you always got something for us.
No, I'm going to keep it to myself.